Alright, so today I'm going to show you guys how to do tree census or perform a tree census, but really what we're calculating is tree volume using the height of the tree and the circumference. To measure those things, there's only two or even one piece of equipment that you need. For the way I'm going to do it, all you need is a transect tape and a protractor. There's also another way to do that my partner did, which involves just using the transect tape. I'll explain about that a little bit later. Either way, to start off, what you're going to do is measure the diameter breast height of the tree. That's going to give you the circumference at breast height on your body. An important thing to remember when you're doing this, make sure you use the same metric for all your measurements, distance, circumference, and everything else. For that, to make it simple, I'm just going to use meters. That's the white side on our transect tape. So you come up to the tree, wrap your arms around, keep them level, then you pull them. You point this in here, and it's looking like it's about 1.43 meters. So then you'd write that down, or if you have a partner, you can do this by yourself, but it's going to be a lot easier if you have a partner to help you out, to hold the tape and to write down your measurements and stuff like that. So you'd write that down, and then the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a path that looks fairly level, like as far as I can see. I'm going to have my partner step on this tape, and I'm going to walk away, like letting the tape spool out until I can see the top of the tree at like a decent angle to where I can record it. So, show you guys an example of that right now. If you step on that, and then we're just gonna walk away. Alright, so right about here, I can see the top of the tree. It's still pretty steep, but I can't see it at an angle. So now what you're gonna do next is you're gonna take your protractor, hold it to where it's level with your eye. You want that to be flat to make sure that your angle's proper. And then you're going to line up this little line at the top of the tree. And you're going to record the angle. Right here we got 60 degrees. So have your partner record that down. And that'll be the only two measurements, or the only three measurements you need to take for the tree. And then you'll enter that into an equation, or in Excel you'll put an equation in for all your data, and that'll give you the volume. It'll use the circumference, or you can turn the circumference into radius, and then there's an equation. I don't exactly remember what the equation is, and that'll give you your volume. And then yeah, so what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to compare how trees different on different parts of the mountain. I'm going to do the windward side, which is where we are right now, facing the ocean. There's a top of the mountain, and then the leeward side. And I'm going to just compare how those volumes differ. They should be a little bit different because this side's going to get a lot more moisture coming up from the mountain, but you guys will learn about that in our results section. Another important thing to remember is for your calculation, you also need to count for the fact that your angle's starting from your eyeball. So you'll need to measure the distance from your eye to the ground, record that, and that'll also come into play in your calculation. Another way to do this, which is what my partner did, is you measure the circumference and everything the same way I did, but you measure the distance of the shadow. It would work better on flat ground. We're on a mountain here, so it really wouldn't work that well. But you measure the length of the shadow, and then depending on your latitude and longitude and the time of day, you can actually calculate height from that. Again, probably won't work on a slope. It'd work better in flat ground, so you can get like an accurate result. And then you plug that all in. Some troubleshooting to remember is just make sure that you're using all the same metrics. It doesn't matter if you use feet or meters, but make sure you use the same for each one of your different measurements. That'll really help you out. And yeah, I think that about covers it. It's really simple to do. Make sure you have a partner. Well, don't make sure, but it'll be a lot more easy with a partner. Yeah, thanks guys. So some points that I wanted to add in is that with this method, we are measuring the volume, but the equation that you're going to use is actually the volume of a cylinder that is the same width all the way throughout. As you guys know, trees are not. They're much wider at the base than they are at the very top. So this method will not give you an accurate representation of volume, but what it will do, and what we are looking at, is just how it will allow you to compare populations, and it will allow you to compare the volume of populations. It won't be accurate volumes, but it will be accurate between how populations differ with their volumes. So that's one important thing to remember. Another thing is that different trees are going to have different volumes at like the diameter breast height than they are at the top. Like with pine trees, it's like one straight branch all the way up to the top. With eucalyptus trees, as you can see on some of these, they have like massive branches that split out between them. So it's gonna be a little bit different between every tree. But again, it will, even if you did all pine trees for your whole study, then this will work. But if you try to compare eucalyptus trees with pine trees, the volumes are gonna be way different and they're not gonna work. These are specifically like species comparative volumes. They're not like all tree comparison volumes for this equation. So